What's up everyone, welcome back to the channel. So because the Evo 8 is still on a base map, we need to prep it or get it ready for the tune. So it needs to be dialed in for idle, cruise, and of course pulls. Now before I go ahead and do that, there are a few parts that I want to go ahead and put on. That way there's no issues when it comes time to tune. I don't want to tune it, throw on these fuel parts, and then have to make adjustments afterwards. So now shout out to my dude David over at Graveyard Performance, because he gave me the hookup, or he gave me a deal on some of these parts that I picked up. So basically I believe in this box I got some like fuel upgrades. I have a fuel rail, fuel pressure regulator, and a gauge as well. This I have a replacement O2 sensor for my AEM wideband in there because it doesn't read properly. At least I don't think it does. So then I also have an inline fuel filter along with some lines and some AN fittings, so that way I can go ahead and run ethanol on this without any issues. So I've taken off the fuel rail in this a bunch of times. It's pretty easy, pretty straightforward. But to get to it now, I have to remove the strut tower bar, which I installed last time. So I'm gonna go ahead and take that off. Probably go ahead and remove this intercooler piping as well to give me some room to get to that fuel line down there. When the tune is all said and done, I honestly don't know what I'm gonna make. I haven't looked up a bunch of info on the FP Red. Elijah did tell me that he saw like, I think over 500 on ethanol on FP Red, which is cool. I don't know that I can make that because of one, the fuel pump that's in there, and the injectors, I'm limited by those as well. I've got 1200 cc injectors, but let's go ahead and get started because I wanna get this over with and be done. So the fuel rail's out, but now I have to remove the feed line that comes off of the car. So it looks like it's got like two nuts down there that I have to loosen up so that way I can go ahead and remove this. Then we should be good to go as far as installing the new setup. All right, so we got the stock fuel rail out along with the OEM feed line as well, since that's got to be changed too. And this box should be all the fuel stuff that's going to replace that. So let's go ahead and open this up. Actually, we're just gonna open up everything. So yeah, let's do that. All right, so a bunch of stuff. So we got different fittings from Vibrant Performance here. Some fuel line and vacuum lines. I've got the fuel lab, fuel pressure regulator, along with the STM gauge and STM fuel rail. This is a replacement sensor for an AEM wideband. This is gonna be the 10 micron fuel filter. This is just additional hose and fittings as well. All right, after some precise measurements, and by precise I mean I eyeballed it, I pretty much have it figured out as far as how the lines are gonna run and how long they need it to be. So I have them mocked up and everything on the table over there. But a quick rundown. So I have the fuel rail and the injectors aren't in there, but the fuel rail is in there. That way I can figure out how long the lines needed to be. And now the only place that kind of made sense for the fuel filter to sit is gonna be right over here, actually, right over here. Which I don't know if that's a good idea or not. I'm gonna be honest. It sits up higher than what the fuel rail does. I don't know that that matters, especially with the system being pressurized, and I could adjust it with that fuel lab fuel pressure regulator. But ideally, I would want it to sit lower. But there's nowhere else. There's nowhere else over here that it can sit. Nowhere that I can see, especially with the feed line coming off the car, like right here. So now I know that Radium makes a kit for the Evo 8.9 or whatever, but I didn't see that till long after I had ordered this and decided to put in an inline fuel filter. So if for whatever reason this doesn't work out, I'll probably just end up ordering that. I may still order it anyway. So the fuel return line, which was provided by the STM kit, it's basically gonna run behind the intake manifold, and it's gonna run into the fuel pressure regulator, which is gonna sit right here. From the rail, there will be a high pressure line that comes off on this side down here, and it'll go to the fuel pressure regulator. And again, the return line will go back to the car. Here are the lines set up with AN fittings on them. I absolutely hate setting up AN fittings. It's not fun at all, but it's done. Hopefully it doesn't leak. When I did it on the 10, it didn't have any leaks. I'm hoping for the same result. and of course one of the O-rings gets damaged. Luckily we have this assortment of O-rings. Hopefully one of these works, otherwise I'm gonna have to like order new O-rings from FIC. But here it says it's good for gas, so hopefully these do the trick. This one looks pretty close in size, so hopefully this one does the trick. It's the next day, everything is installed, but I did go ahead and start it last night, but I didn't leave it running long enough to check for leaks. So we're gonna go ahead and do that. But as you can see, we got the fuel filter sitting over there. The fuel feed line is gonna go underneath the intercooler piping over to the rail. Fuel pressure regulator is right there. I don't have it bolted up yet because I wanna be able to check for fuel pressure and set it accordingly. With it sitting right there up against the firewall, is gonna be kind of tight as far as being able to set the fuel pressure, which I still have to look up to see what it's supposed to be set at. Fuel rails in along with the fuel injectors. 2 of those injector O-rings did get replaced because during installation, they got kind of messed up, even after having put Vaseline on there to make it a little bit easier to go into the rail. Hopefully it doesn't leak, but if it does, it may be from there. Nonetheless, I'm still gonna go ahead and order some replacement FIC fuel injector O-rings if I can find them. I'm just hoping that they'll get the job done for now until those new ones come in. Let's just go ahead and tighten up this intercooler piping and go ahead and get it started up. That way I can check for leaks. Alright, so far there are no leaks, and per the internet, the fuel pressure should be set to 43.5 psi, which I did. Now all that's left is for me to jack the car up and install that O2 sensor for the wideband. Once that's done, I can hit up Chad to get the idle smoothed out as well as the cruise. And I think that's pretty much going to be a wrap for today after that's done. Slowly but surely the car is coming together. At some point we'll actually be able to do pulls in this, and I can truly see what it feels like to drive a modded Evo 8. Let's see if the gauge finally works. All right, after what felt like hours of me trying to get this gauge to read an Evo scan and me still not getting it to work properly, I went ahead and just picked up this AEM X Series gauge locally. So Elijah had one actually at the shop, brand new. So I went ahead and picked that up, and I have it wired in temporarily into the car because it's not going to stay in here, but just so that way I can tune the car. Apparently it's way easier to tune with AEM gauges as opposed to the gauge that I want to put in here, which is an Innovate gauge. So I'm going to go ahead and turn the key really quick so you guys can see that it works. And there we go. I sent Chag a test log. That way he can determine whether or not everything is reading as it should. It's late in the day, and I know there's a time difference between here and I believe he's in Texas, like 2 or 3 hours. So I don't think we're gonna be able to finish it up today. So that's pretty much gonna be a wrap for now. So I appreciate you guys checking out this video. Stay tuned. If you have not, subscribe to the channel, turn on notifications. That way you guys get notified when new videos drop. Hopefully you guys are as excited as I am about this car finally running, and I'll see you guys in the next video.